Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Connecting to Spirit with Stacy. My name is Stacy Niedenthal, and I am a child of God. I'm a psychic medium. I am a spiritual healer, and I'm a shaman. And each Tuesday at 10:30, I come to you, and we talk about spiritualism. We talk about connecting to spirit. We're going to talk about wholeness and getting real with yourself. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today, getting real with yourself. As a medium, I deal with life and death all the time. And I know that it seems like it might be a strange thing to have to deal with on a daily basis, but through doing mediumship readings, I have gotten a whole new perspective of life versus death. And of course, I'm going to choose life, and I'm going to choose living my life the best way that I can. You live the life you love the life you live. And in doing private readings, in doing group readings, in talking about connecting with your past loved ones, I come across a lot of skeptics. And it's great when a skeptic comes in and I'm able to bring their loved one through and I change the way that they feel. When you come to a medium, it's that almost like that glimpse, that last chance to connect with someone who you're missing, who has passed. And when you're a skeptic and you come into a reading, if you're not open to receive it, you know what? Spirit may not come through for you. And no matter what I say or what I do, you're not going to be a believer. So when you think about the skeptic's mind, and when you think about the loved ones that you've lost, what's important there? Is it the things that you've lost or the memories that you've had? So, when we're talking today about getting real and healing, I want to talk about the things that I've come across when I do readings. And when I do them, there's times that the person who comes into me who is just totally broken, and we cry and we laugh and we heal. We walk through those things. And sometimes they're crying just because they miss their loved one so much. And sometimes they're crying and upset because they feel like they've missed a chance to say the things that they needed to say, to do the things that they needed to do. There's those lost opportunities of saying, I love you, I care for you. Those are the things that we're going to talk about right now. We want to talk about getting rid of the mask that we wear that holds our emotions down. The things that stop us from saying and doing those things while we're still on this earth. Because you want to say those things today, because each day that we live is one day closer to us passing. So I'm asking you to dig down deep, to be vulnerable, and allow yourself to say and do those things in love. God said the greatest commandment of all is love. There's people out there that I may not care too much about, but I love them, their energy. I feel like I have to love them. There's no right words, there's no wrong words, but there's right and wrong actions. And when your words and your actions don't align, then there's that problem. There's a motivational speaker that I followed for a very long time, and I still hold him in very high esteem. He taught me a lot. I'm a motivational junkie, basically. And his catchphrase was, fake it till you make it. And just until the other night when I was thinking about fake it till you make it, if I fake it, then I'm not being who I am. I'm fake. I'm not real. It's putting that mask on. Now I understand that we have to, if we've got a goal, we've got something that we want to do, we want to set our intention to already believe that it is in the process of happening. We have that trust, we have that faith. But if we're faking it until we make it, then there's that not being who you are. So today I'm asking you to change that, and I'm saying get real to heal. I want you to take that long, hard look in the mirror at yourself and figure out who you are and what you need to do. Sometimes you need to walk to the fire. We talked about that last week with Kelly. And when we talk about walking through the fire, these are the things that have, for lack of a better word, kind of damaged us. The things that make us not say what we really want to say because of past experiences, because of failure, fear of loss, these things that ultimately have destroyed the fire in our heart. And fire can be good and bad. Fire gives warmth, but fire also burns. And when you think about the fire in your heart, are you a warm fire or are you a burning fire? Okay? So that's something that I want you to think about. We all need heat, right? We need to heat our house. It's cold outside. We need to heat our house. But our energy also needs that. Well, sometimes when we have damage in our past, the things that we've been taught, the things that we tell ourselves, we're only burning ourselves. So when you think about the things that you need to heal through, these are the damages, these are the things in our past that have stopped us from walking into our future. So when our spirit needs warmth, we need to send love to ourselves. So, boy, when I'm thinking about this whole subject, and I have all my notes and everything written down, it brings me back to, and I know this may sound like a morbid thing to you, but if you were to pass away today, what would your eulogy say? If you could attend your funeral, what would people say about you? To me, that's important. I would like to think that people would think, oh my gosh, she helped a lot of people. She was loving, she was kooky. You never knew what the heck she was going to say next. The wisdom that I leave with my kids, hopefully my wisdom, I should use that word sparingly, that with my kids and with my friends and my family, I hope that lives on. When I think about past loved ones who have been in my life and touched my life, their body, their meat suit is no longer of this earth, but their energy and their spirit still live within me. I can still hear my grandmother Breckbill saying my name, and she hardly ever called me Stacy. I was always Stady, and I can hear her saying that. I remember when my mom passed, and my one niece said, I asked her, I said, so what's one thing you remember about Grandma? And she said, she was the first person who ever cursed at me. And I thought, what? Like, that's not my mom at all. But she said to me, she goes, I was doing something, and she looked at me and went, you little shit. That's my mom. She would point her finger, have this little grin on her face, and say that. Her energy is still here. It's woven within me. It's woven in my kids, my grandkids that got to meet her. She's still here in spirit. So even though you've lost the physical body, the spirit is still here. So what do you want to be remembered for? Right? What are your actions doing now that long after you're gone, you're still going to leave a mark on this earth? There are people who have been dead 50, 100 years that were public figures. Einstein, everybody knows Einstein. What was his mark? The one thing that I remember about Einstein, which I know is going to seem funny to you, is the man was such a genius that he didn't want to waste any time figuring out what he was going to wear in the morning. That took time to him. So he had all the same suits, all the same shirts, all the same socks, all the same color. So that's what you would see him in all the time. Think about the pictures you see of Einstein. But to him, it was a waste of time for him to pick out what he was wearing. So I'm asking you today, I want you to take that look in the mirror, look in your eyes, and think to yourself, what mark am I leaving here on this earth? What footprint am I leaving here on this earth? People are going to miss me when I'm gone. I understand that. But what are they going to remember? What have they learned from me? I have a friend of mine that I've known since high school. And this came up into my head when we were driving from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania here. And I remember when his mom passed, and his mom was not the nicest person in the world. And I know you shouldn't speak ill of the dead, so I'm just putting it that way. But when he called me and told me that his mom passed, of course I offered him his condolences and asked him when the funeral was, and he said, we're not really going to have a funeral for her. Nobody would show up. And that hit me, like nobody would show up. For some reason, this woman was so closed off that friends, family had all alienated her. Why? What happened to her that this is the life that she chose? Had she looked deep into the mirror and figured out, I need to give love to be loved, or I need to acknowledge love to leave that mark on the earth? The mark she left with her son, and she had 4 sons, was not to have a funeral because no one would show up. Now, when their father passed, big funeral, a lot of people were there. So I wonder what the difference is there. You want to pause for a moment, and if you're faking it until you make it, the only person that you're fooling is you. But are you really fooling yourself? If you take a look back, you're probably really not fooling yourself. You need to start living the life you love and love the life you live. We've got to change this universe out there. Something, that I hope people say to me is, oh my God, this chick was one of the most positive people that I ever met. I believe in being positive. There's always a positive thing to find. And that's something I want to instill in the people that I surround myself with. That's the thing that I want to instill in my children, in my grandchildren. When my kids come to me with a problem, one of the first things I'll say to them is, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. There's always a way. I don't shut the door on them. I don't say, but there are people out there who do that. So why? What happened? I have an aunt who's totally closed her door on her whole family. The woman's in her 80s. What happened? So when I'm asking you to dig down deep, if you're stuck in the traumas that are blocking you from loving, from living, from joy, it's time to walk through that fire. It's time to face it. It's time to release it. Well, work through it and release it. It absolutely costs you nothing to be kind to anyone. Even if you can just smile at someone, you never know what that smile is going to do for someone else. I feel like regrets that we have, we're all going to have some type of regrets. But if those regrets, if we can, if we can change that so that that's not there, what a blessing that is. When spirit comes through to me, and spirit's anyone who has been of this earth and has crossed over. So I'm talking about your deceased loved ones. There are times when they come through, my heart is so warm and my body is so tingly because this person loved the people in front of me so much. And I can feel their love. And when their family members are across from me, I can feel their love. There's times when I'm doing a group reading when someone will come in spirit, kind of with their head down. And I'll say to the person across, I have a father image here, but he's not really coming forward. He's asking for permission to come forward. Can he come through? Sometimes that person says, no, I don't want to talk to my father. Maybe the father wanted to come in and apologize, because I've had that. I've had spirit come through with their head down saying they're apologizing for not being emotionally available to their child, for being too rough on them, for not telling them enough that they love them. You realize that when you're in spirit, because when you cross, you kind of see where your life was, the things that happened, and you get a better understanding of what the other person was going through. And then in spirit, it's time for you to work through those regrets. And it's kind of like that double-sided sword, where spirit, in my opinion, doesn't have the normal emotions that we do because we're human. But when they first pass, they see their life. They see the things that happen. They understand, oh my gosh, I missed this. This really, my daughter cried herself to sleep because of something that I said. I never knew that. So spirit has that opportunity to see that. And sometimes they want to come through and apologize and make amends. It also gives you a chance to maybe face those things that maybe you didn't have a very good childhood, and your mom comes through and says, you know, she had a sharp tongue and she taught you the things of what not to do. Does that make sense? So we teach our children how we react and we respond to things. So here I have this aunt who is basically closed off to everyone, who's not speaking to anyone that I know of. I think one son she speaks to. So when she passes, is it going to be a similar conversation that I had with my friend that said, we're probably not going to have a funeral because nobody's going to show up? What's a funeral for? That's to show respect. That is to give your last goodbye to a person. That's to find closure for yourself. But if in my funeral, if you know, because I'm going to pop in, I hear someone saying, oh my God, that woman she drove me absolutely nuts. And I'm sure I do drive people nuts. But I would rather have people say, man, she was one hip chick, or she did this for me, or I remember a time. So I'm asking you, and I know I sound like I'm going around in circles because I'm going from life to death. So I'm asking you to teach the people around you how you want to be treated. So if you're showing love, you're going to receive love. And sometimes what we have to teach our children, unfortunately, is how to work through traumas, how to work through death, how to go on with life. And everyone will tell you after someone passes that it gets better, that it gets easier. No, it doesn't. I've literally done thousands of readings for people. It doesn't get better. You find a new normal. You find that peace. If you dwell in the grief of the things that you've lost and don't work through it, that's when you get stuck in depression. That's when things get kind of ugly for you. So I want you to change the way you think. I want you to get real and heal. Instead of thinking what you've lost, think about what you had. I had my mom for almost 50 years. There's people out there that, you know, haven't had their mom for, 2 years. The mom passed away in childbirth. I've lost people to suicide. But you know what? I was lucky enough for them to cross paths in my life, and they taught me something. There was a young man, oh my gosh, who just, his smile would just light up the world. For some reason, he decided that he couldn't be in this world anymore. I've talked to him in spirit. I understand what he's saying, but we all miss him very much. And that's what it's about. It's about what you miss, but it's about the love that you feel for them and the love that you've given to them. It's future generations. They're watching us. They're watching how we react. They're watching how we respond. And if you are in that situation where an illness has taken over your body and you are getting ready to transition from one life to another, then you have to teach your children about death and living without you and talking about it and making amends for little things or certain things that maybe you did or didn't do. with my kids, I made a lot of mistakes with them growing up. And you know what? If I had it all to do over, I would try and change some of those. But the human side of me says, you know what? I did the best that I could with the knowledge that I had at the time. It didn't mean to hurt anyone. I love them with all of my heart, and they know that. I'm approachable. They're approachable. Do they always want to hear what I have to say? Probably not. But they know that mom's going to be honest with them. So if mom's going to be honest with them, mom needs to be honest with mom. And years ago, I took a hard look in the mirror. I keep saying about the mirror. It's very important to me when someone talks to me that they're looking me in the eyes. So when I'm looking myself in the eye in the mirror, what am I seeing? And I broke it down like, who am I? Well, I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a co-worker, I'm a neighbor, I'm a business owner, I'm a medium, of course I'm a child of God. There's so many things that I identify myself with, all these titles, but when I take that mask off, when I drop all those titles, like, who am I? Who am I? And that's when I started seeing and remembering some past traumas, some things that I needed to work through that I was hiding behind. When my kids moved out of my house, like, I brought kids into my marriage. My husband and I never had, a marriage without kids until they all moved out. But then I lost that identity. Not that I wasn't mom anymore, but my kids weren't under my roof anymore, So I lost a little piece of myself. And I had to step back and look at the boundaries and the things that I set up in front of me. Like, why wasn't I succeeding? Why wasn't I moving forward? Was it from fear? Was it past experiences? Was it failure? There's people who are afraid to be successful. I have had my heart broken several times. Was I afraid of having my heart broken again? I was not a great person to date. You can ask my husband because I had all these walls up, and you had to jump through all these hoops. And a very good friend of mine had a talk with me and said, look, if you want to have a good relationship, you got to knock this crap off. You have to be real with who you are. So instead of fear, have faith. Have faith that God is going to provide those things that you need on this earth. Instead of looking at past experiences that are holding you down, look at the lessons that you learned. You can easily go, not doing that again. Instead of setting up boundaries, be approachable. Even if you are cautiously approachable, just those one little thing at a time. Change the words that you're using. And on Vibe Tribe, I do Vibe Tribe just about every day. I'm a little short this week. But on Vibe Tribe, I always talk about the words that you say in the universe. Like, that is who you are. That's what people are going to remember about you. If you always say, I have no luck, when you pass, somebody's going to, man, that person had the worst luck ever. No. Start changing your words. Start changing your actions. God wants you to be abundant and prosperous, but you've got to line your mouth up with what you intend. So when you think about who you are on this earth, I am who. Let me just go back. When I did that, when I was looking at all my titles and I was peeling them all back, I finally came back and I thought, okay, well, I'm Stacy. Well, that's still a title. Well, I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. So if I'm a child of God, that means I'm energy. And that means I was conceived of love, which means I am love. What's the greatest commandment of all? Love. So if I'm love, then I can't portray not being love. Does that make sense? When you cross from this earth into the next world, you want to be remembered for the people that you loved. You want to be remembered. My opinion, of course. You may think, no, I'm going to be a crotchety old woman and I don't give a shit if people love me or not. But deep down inside, we all want to be loved. And for the people that you leave behind on this earth, you want them to remember how you loved them. You want them to remember that spark that was in your eye, or, the good stories. Oh my gosh, when my father-in-law passed away, the stories that people told at his celebration of life, at his funeral, however you want to say it, we were laughing. This man was one of the greatest storytellers ever, and best hugger in the world. He wasn't just somebody who would just come up and put his arms around you and hug you. I mean, you felt his hugs. And one of the stories he told us, his car somehow, I don't even remember how, his one car caught on fire when he was at a friend's house. And he, just like you would see in the movies, he ran to the house to get a hose, came running back with the hose. The hose was too short. And as he's saying this, I mean, he's very animated with this. He got into his stories. And when my husband said to him, I mean, the car ended up just being a big pile of metal. And my husband asked him, did you get anything from the car? And he just kind of smirked and he goes, well, I got my sandwich. Those are the things, like that was what was important to him. But what he was telling us about when the car was being towed off and it was on a flatbed and he's behind the flatbed, he says Elvis came on the radio and singing glory, glory, hallelujah. This story was told at his funeral. Most people didn't know that story, but everybody, I guarantee you, everybody could hear Jerry's voice saying that and him singing it. That was what he was remembered for, his storytelling. The way he wouldn't take any crap. He was a small man, but I'll tell you what, if he thought that there was something that shouldn't be done, he would let you know. So think about what you embody. Think about what your energy is. Think about what you want to be remembered for. Love. Get real and heal. What's stopping you? What's stopping you from bringing that love through? I lost my place here, so hang with me for 1 second. Okay, all right, so I got it. So, there's this full understanding of what it means. And like I said, you can talk to all the motivational speakers that you want to, that will tell you what their aha moment was, what brought them. There are people who have been homeless and now, they didn't let that stop them. They moved forward. So when you think about who you are and what you want to be remembered for, I want you to look at that mirror and I want you to say, who am I? What am I a product of? If you can think of 5 words, and even just start with that. No makeup, no glasses, no mask, just you in the mirror. What are the 5 words that you can think of that has to do with you? Are they happiness? Are they good words? Are they negative words? What are you telling yourself? If you're looking in the mirror and you're saying, well, I see a hopeless romantic that's a loser, that's not good in business, that fails at everything, as you're saying that, you're losing eye contact with yourself. If you're losing eye contact with yourself, you don't believe it. And I'm not going to believe it either. We're all born with a purpose. We all have gifts. Your job is to walk into that gift and flourish, right? So are there secrets that come up when you look in the mirror that need to be resolved? I had things that I needed to, that I had pushed down for years and years and years, that I needed to look them in the eye and say, is there something that I can do about this? And if the answer is no, then I need to breathe through it. I needed to pray and I needed to release it. I needed to release myself and forgive myself. And I needed to release the person in front of me and forgive them. Right? Doesn't happen overnight. So when you think about those things that you're proud of, and they can just be one word, how you really want to feel about yourself, and if you need people to help you to resolve them, then get that help. I have an awesome husband who I can just say to him, I just need to talk out loud for a minute. Because sometimes I just need to hear what I need to walk through. So I know when I pass, my husband is probably going to say, oh my God, that woman talked a lot. She talked a lot. She talked a lot. Yes, I do. I do talk a lot, but sometimes I need to hear the words, right? So when you think about those 5 words about yourself, and I said, do you need help? Here's some things I want to think. Do you smile a lot? You're looking in the mirror and you say, I like my smile. Do you have a good sense of humor? I love to laugh. Are you a parent? I am proud of the way I raised my kids. Do you have a home? Do you have food? I have a home that I provide nourishment for myself and my family. Do you have close friends? I have loyal friends. And you know what? Even if you only have 1 or 2 close friends, you still have that. That's still part of your tribe. So an example of what you're doing is saying, I am a good friend that smiles a lot, loves to laugh in my home with my family and friends at the dinner table, and that's just that first step. So when you think about that, are people going to say, oh my gosh, we went to her house all the time and we laughed and we had food, and you want to look at it on both sides, because in the end, that's what's going to be important. It's that those memories that you leave with people. All right. So we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to talk more about this. But I just really want you to put your thinking cap on. I want you to dive down deep inside of yourself and get real and heal. So we'll be back here just in a few minutes. We're going to go to a quick commercial and we're going to talk more. So I'll be back in a few. All right, bye.
If you're a product of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, or wish that you were, then you'll want to step inside Hip Gypsy Emporium for a trip back in time. We're a kindred spirits treasure trove located in the former Duffield School in Chambersburg. We offer home, garden, and vintage, clothing and jewelry, soaps and fragrances, teas and honeys, oils and crystals, products from local vendors and artisans, and Christmas items 365 days a year. Hip Gypsy Emporium, located at 2168 Mont Alto Road in Chambersburg.
Welcome back to Connecting to Spirit with Stacy. My name's Stacy Niedenthal. I am a psychic medium. I am a child of God. I'm a spiritual healer, and I'm a shaman. And I come to you every day at 10:30. I'm sorry, not every day. Every Tuesday. This is the beauty of live. Every Tuesday at 10:30 to talk to you about spiritualism, to talk to you about past lives, and connecting with your loved ones who have passed. Grief, death and dying, all those fun subjects that nobody really wants to talk about. And I've been a medium for, 4 or 5 years practicing. I guess it's been 4 years that I've been practicing. I do private groups, or privates as well as group readings. And in the years that I've been doing this, it has made me look at death in such a different way that I just feel like I need to share it with you. And what we're talking about is getting real with ourselves and healing. And it's not just for you, but it's for the others that are around you as well. I've already talked about, each day we live is a closer day to death. And I don't say that so that you think, oh my God, I'm going to die. And I'm not saying it so that I'm saying to you, it's okay to pass from this earth on your own. It's not that. I just don't want you to walk around in a daze all your life, not doing the things that you were born to do, not connecting with the people who are surrounding you, and maybe having a regret, whether it's on your deathbed or as you cross over. Leaving regret for the people who are on this earth, right? So we're talking about getting real to heal, taking that deep look down into ourselves, thinking about what we want our obituary to say. You've read some obituaries that have been, wife of so-and-so, married for this many years, children here, 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 and here, that live here, here. And, it's just that it's almost like it's a template of an obituary. My my obituary, you know what? Stacy Needenthal lived from 1964 to such and such, and she danced her way into God's arms. I love to dance. People know that. So why have my obituary be blah, because that's not who I am. It's the things that I'm impressing on the people who are still left on this earth that I want them to have. I know it sounds weird. Have fun with the obituary. Have fun at the funeral. I want people to laugh at the funeral and not cry because they're going to miss me. I want them to remember the things that I've done or I've said. And I pray that I have touched many lives. And everybody that you touch, everybody that you talk to, you're leaving that footprint on them, that fingerprint, however you want to say it. Those are the memories that they're going to remember. When you think about grief, we think about the things that we don't have. For people who have lost fathers or mothers before they were married, when their wedding date comes, oh, my dad's not going to be able to walk me down the aisle. My mom's not going to be here with me. But if you have a picture of mom, if you talk to mom, or you're talking to dad, they will be there in spirit because they are in you. Does that make sense? Spirit doesn't just end when you pass. I unfortunately I'm part of this suicide grief group, and this one woman made a comment. She lost I believe it was her brother, and she just put a comment, and she's like, I don't know what you all are talking about. When people die, they die. There is no God. The body rots and it's just gone. Well, first of all, when I answered her back, I'm very sorry for the loss of you. And I'm pretty sure it was her brother, of your brother. Second of all, I pray that you are just speaking in anger. There are different stages of grief. We all know that. And third of all, I know that God is an awesome God. The universe is here for a reason. And your brother, although he decided to pass from this earth before his time, before you felt it was time, instead of thinking about the things that you've lost, eventually I pray that you think about the things that you had. Maybe you guys went to baseball games all the time. Maybe there was a favorite show that you always watched. It's thinking about what you had instead of what you lost. Is it an easy thing to do? Absolutely not. When you lose someone, you lose a part of you, and I totally get that. But we want to keep them alive within ourselves. There are times, there's a song, and I can't even remember what the song is, but it says, oh yeah, it's Tom Petty Swinging. I should have known that. There's a line in there where he says, my mama would be so proud of me now. And when I hear that, and we heard it on the way here, I think of myself, my mom would be very proud of what I'm doing right now. Was she always proud of me? She would tell you she was, but I was pretty much a screw up when I was growing up, so I'm sure there were times that she was like, oh my God, this kid. But if she would see, she knows where I came from, and I know where I came from, and I know the struggles that I had, and I've worked through them. You work through them because you dig down deep within yourself, and you find that love within yourself. But when I hear that, here's where I was going. When I hear that line in that song, like I can see in my head my mom smiling at me, right? So with this woman who lost her brother, somewhere down the road, and it was very, it was just a few days ago. Somewhere down the road, a song, a place that she goes to, a scent, something is going to come up. She's going to see her brother's face in her head or feel him, and she's going to smile, and she's going to remember. Right now she's angry, and that's cool. That's cool. But don't get so lost in the death that you lose yourself. The person who has passed would not want you to lose that. I'm not raising my kids so that when I pass, they're angry and upset that I'm not there anymore. I want them to remember, the double dares that we did, or the time we went to Hershey Park, and just the different things that we did. God bless my kids for growing up in the family. Both my husband and I love practical jokes. We were always doing something. But I feel like that taught them what a sense of humor was, right? Maybe it did. Maybe it tormented them. I don't know. I guess they'll tell me later, or maybe I'll get a therapist bill going, oh my gosh, you really messed up your kids because, you held your breath underwater to see who could do that the longest with bubbles with all your kids or something. But it's that making those memories, but truly finding out who you are. When my kids were growing up, I worked a corporate job. I wore a suit, all business, blah, 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 because I wanted them to see a mom who got up every day, went to work in the business world to make a living so that I could support them. Okay? Now that they're grown up and they have kids of their own, I'm thinking to myself, man, I wish I would have been able to stay home, raise my family, make those bonds and things like that. I did the best that I could with the knowledge that I had at the time. The thing that I thought was most important is what I tried to do. My kids know I love them. I tell them before they leave all the time. My sister-in-law, oh my God, before her kids leave, make good choices. I can hear her say that. So when my sister-in-law passes, her daughters are probably going to go, oh my gosh, Mom used to tell us make good choices all the time. So if I went to do something that wasn't a good choice, I would hear Mom in my ear going, make good choices. And 10 years after she's gone, they're still going to hear, make good choices. So it's those things that make you who you are. Don't fake it till you make it. Get real and heal, right? Get rid of the BS that's in your life that stops you from being happy. And I'm not saying it to make it feel like, oh, she just thinks this is going to be an easy thing, because there are a lot of traumas that we deal with that just, it's almost like that dragon on our back that's just holding on that won't let go. But one by one, when you face these issues, you can take those claws, pull them back that's in your shoulder, and release it, because it's not you. You went through that to be who you are today. So be the best you that you can be. Have that thought that you know that when I pass from this earth, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's 20 years from now, I did okay. I made some mistakes, but I did okay. I lived my life to try and love my life. And I loved my life the way I lived my life. Bob Marley said that in a song, and I'm very much on song quotes and all different types of quotes. Live the life you love and love the life you live. If you're not, nobody's going to change it for you. Nobody's going to call you up on the phone and say, hey, I got this awesome job opportunity for you, and this is... No, you've got to put action behind what your dreams are. Don't let your dreams fade away. Don't be 80 years old and think, oh man, I should have done this, this, or this. When I was pregnant with my son, and he was born in 1988, so yeah, okay. So let's say 87, 88, since he was born in 88. I remember like cutting the grass and thinking to myself, and I lived in Easton, PA at that time, and they were looking for this murderer. And I remember thinking to myself, if we would take a picture of this man's face and put him on the television, we could probably find him. Like, TV is just unbelievably real, and it touches so many people. Well, like 2 years later, America's Most Wanted was created. I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought of that first. And I'm sure other people thought of it as well. But had that idea in my head sparked, and I would have made an action behind it, who knows? It's that having faith. Maybe, I remember having that thought, but I don't even remember how serious I was about it. But if you've got a dream in your heart, and it's that warmth of your heart and that feeling that this is something that I need to do, then you need to do it. If you need help, ask other people to help you. Involve your family, involve your friends. Mel Robbins talks about finding your dream team, those 5 people around you who push you, who help you do these things. Because in the end, the only thing that matters to me is how much love I gave and how much I was loved. How many people I helped and how many people helped me. It's all service. It's not about the car I drive, the house I have. It's not about that. All that crap goes away. So what's the fire in your heart? Is it warming you or is it burning you? Fire's good either way. It can warm your house. It can burn your house down. So this is your house. Is it warming your house or is it burning your house down? Is it warming the people that you're around or is it burning them down? What are your words saying? What are your actions doing? When you get real to heal, then you're able to teach other people that they can do it as well, right? There are several people who have been through addictions and trauma and abuse, and they've come out of that fire in order to help other people go through it. So the lessons that we learn aren't just, oh, okay, well, I got that now. It's to have your own experiences so you can talk one-to-one with a person who's in a similar situation. I was in an abusive marriage years ago, and people would say to me all the time, why don't you just leave? Well, it just isn't that easy, because if you've never been in it, you don't know. But if I have a woman come in and they're talking to me about it, I understand. I can help her make that plan, because she needs to get real with herself, open her eyes, and heal, and walk through the fire so that she can now be warm in her heart, so that when she does pass, she's remembered for the strength that she had, for the people that she touched, and for the love that she gave. So, like I said, this is something I think about a lot, only because I deal with death and dying and grief so much. And I see the regret that comes from my clients that come in. They will come literally into my office. You can just tell they're very sad and heavy and their shoulders are down. And by the grace of God, when they leave, man, you gave me something to think about. And their eyes perk up. There was a woman, and I've probably talked about this before. There was a woman who lost her grandson. And this was when I first started doing readings. And I did this group reading. And when she came over to me and she hugged me, she said, you changed my life. I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't change her life. Spirit changed her life. I was the vessel. But it made me know that what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, is the right thing. Because I was able to connect this grandmother who lost her grandson in a car accident way before his time. And I was able to touch her heart, and my warmth from my heart touched her warmth from her heart. Understand? There was a trauma she needed to get real to heal. I was able to walk her through that so that she could heal. Does she still grieve her grandson? Absolutely. But she knows that he is still spirit in the spirit world, and he's okay. He's doing things for other people like we don't even know. When I had a reading the other night, and a young man, he drowned, I believe is how it was. I think he had a heart attack and he drowned. And he came through and he said, because of my death, others lived. I think there were 4 or 5 organs that he had that he was able to donate to someone else. He's still of this earth. He's still touching this earth. Even though his physical body isn't here, some of his organs are still here. But what do you think the family of those recipients think of this man who or the family, through the loss of this husband, of this father, now their loved one can see or has a heart or whatever the situation was? We're here for such a short time. Don't get stuck in the negative. Allow yourself to just step outside of your box. Say those loving words. I know it's not always easy. You can ask my husband. I am not good at saying I'm sorry. I don't know why. Just not. I'll say, still love me? Why is I'm sorry hard? I don't know. And it's one of those things I need to take that deep inner look within myself and think, when was the time that I said, well, I probably have that right now. When was the time that I said that the door was slammed in my face? What lesson did I learn about saying those two words? Well, you don't say it because when you say it, you get hurt. So is that situation going to happen over and over and over again? So I taught myself because of a past lesson. Gosh, it's like I'm my own psychologist right here in front of y'all. And I'm not a counselor, so don't think that I am. But I'm working through my issue with you right now. So because of a past lesson, because of a past experience with someone who that when I said that, I was belittled or made feel like I was weak because I said that. Years later, I'm not saying it. I need to work on that because that person is not the people who need to hear my apologies. Okay? So it's working through. Gosh, isn't that cool? You just had my own little epiphany right here with me. So it's those issues that you walk to the fire, you think about, when was the last time I did that and why can't I do it again? And it'll pop up in your head. Okay, so is it a same situation or not? Now, it's not one of those things where you walked outside in 20 below zero weather and you got frostbite. You learned your lesson, you're not going to do it again. All right, that's cool. Don't do it again because that causes a problem. But if it's an emotion and it's a word or something that you need to say, people will say I love you without even really realizing what it means. Do you really love me? Or are you just saying the words? Think about that. Don't just throw them around. You don't fall in and out of love in 2 dates. Come on. But when you love someone, you have to tell them. There's this old joke that a man and wife got married, and 40 years later, the husband says to the wife, what do you want for our 40th anniversary? And she said, I want you to tell me that you love me. And he said, I do. And she said, no, you haven't told me you love me since we got married. And he said, when I told you I loved you 40 years ago when we got married, if I'd have changed my mind, I'd have left you now. Okay? So for some reason, for 40 years, this man didn't tell her. Tell people you love them, for goodness sakes. Hug them. After my mom passed, I had an issue with hugging people because when I would hug them, I would burst into tears. So I didn't hug people. I just, back off. Yeah, one of these things. And it took me a little while to figure out, why am I not hugging people anymore? I had to get past that. That was part of my grief. I had to walk to the fire, think about it, and walk through it. Otherwise, the warmth of my lovely arms around you, we wouldn't be able to do that. But I had to go back and figure it out. I needed to get real with myself. Why have I stopped doing that? Why don't I do that anymore? Or why do I still do this? There's a spin cycle a lot of times that when you start to notice the same things that you're doing over and over and over again, and then all of a sudden you stop it, go back to when you were doing it and you were happy and think about, why am I stopping it? What happened? Usually there's a negative response that you had. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but think about what that is. Believe in yourself. I need you to get real to heal. And if no one has told you in a very long time that you can do it and that they are proud of you and they love you, you can do it. I am proud of you and I love you because you are meant to be on this earth. You have a purpose to be here. You're not alone. You're never alone. You may feel alone, but you're not ever alone. There are a lot of people who care about you and who love you and want you to be here. So with that, I want you to think about those people that you can reach out to that may need your help. People you haven't talked to in a long time. Maybe I need to get in touch with my aunt and say, what's the deal? What's going on? Right? What happened that all of a sudden you're not talking to anybody in the family? What horrible thing did everybody do? Or what trauma? Let's talk about it. Because when she passes from this earth, I don't want her family to have regret that there was this break in the chain. And I don't want her in her spirit life to think, oh man, now that I see everything, I understand what the reason was. I understand it. So I want you to get real with yourself and heal. Don't fake it till you make it. Get real and heal. Think about the things that you want to be remembered for. Think about the mark that you want to leave on this earth, the love that you want to give, the people that you want to help. And just allow yourself, give yourself permission. That's a good word. Give yourself permission to heal. Don't hold on to it. You don't need that crap, right? So in closing, I pray that you all are living the life you love. You're loving the life you live. If not, you're the only one that can change it. Go to that mirror, look yourself in the eye, get real, and heal. Love yourself, love your life, and move forward. I hope that you all enjoyed this segment of Connecting to Spirit with Stacy. I will be back next Tuesday at 10:30. I would love to know where everybody is watching from, if you want to put that in comments. And I'm thinking that and I'll be promoting this either next week or the following week. I'd like to do like a live angel card reading, but in order to be able to do that, I need you all to be able to call in. And the number is 301-429-9247. And I'll promote that on there as well. But we'll do a live angel card reading and help you to see exactly what I do when I'm connecting with angels. So I'll let you know. I'm not sure if that'll be next week or the following week. I need to consult my guides on that. So I will talk to you next Tuesday. Watch my Facebook, Connecting to Spirit with Stacy, for that promoting of that. It'll also be on the WBGR Facebook network. And we'll talk to you very soon. I'll talk to you next week. Live the life you love the life you live. Get real and heal. Bye.
If you're a product of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, or wish that you were, then you'll want to step inside Hip Gypsy Emporium for a trip back in time. We're a kindred spirits treasure trove located in the former Duffield School in Chambersburg. We offer home, garden, and vintage clothing and jewelry, soaps and fragrances, teas and honeys, oils and crystals, products from local vendors and artisans, and Christmas items 365 days a year. Hip Gypsy Emporium, located at 2168 Mont Alto Road in Chambersburg.